Get ready for University of Georgia basketball.
Hey guys, Georgia loses 76-72. We're gonna start by saying that was the most worst officiating game I've ever watched. Georgia gets screwed with two missed goaltendings. One that would have resulted to a 3-point play. That's 5 points. That's 5 points Georgia could have had there. And then Ole Miss fouls Georgia on the inbound. Smurf heaves up a 3-pointer. They foul him, and he should have got 3 free throws, but instead he got 2. The Jermaine Jones situation from the 97 North Carolina game. I was just close to saying the game's on national TV. Can't you look at the replay? But that didn't cost Georgia the game tonight. What cost Georgia the game it did cost Georgia the game, but that's not the whole story. Not being able to score in the first half, pretty much. You only had 20 points in the first half, and it made it to the point where you had to be able to, come back and, as Chip Kelly said, what's the way to get yourself out of a hole is stop digging. Well, unfortunately, Georgia got put in the hole very, very early in the game, and we weren't able to come back from it. But, I don't want to hear nothing. Georgia got screwed tonight, and that, you have to live with that too. Bad calls are part of the game, but, in college basketball, you're allowed one step, and then that's your continuation. Smurf had one step, and he just shot up, and somehow he didn't get free throws. That was a very terrible call. I mean, very, very, very terrible call. That if Georgia, Georgia could look at it and say, well, if that went our way, we maybe would have won this game. But again, we can't get down 20 at one point. It's inexcusable. And what sucks about this is this tournament, the bracket really set itself up for Georgia to make a run in this tournament. You played Alabama, you already had beat them. Just some of the other teams that you played Kentucky, you'd have won. There was a chance we could have had a Georgia-Florida SEC championship. You would have played Arkansas in the semis, a team you beat in January. So, I mean, everything went for Georgia to maybe make a run in the tournament, but unfortunately we did not. Ole Miss is having an 08 Georgia run, so they've only won 4 conference games. And to be fair to Ole Miss, their record is they are a lot better than what their record is. 70% of their losses in conference play has been by one loss, 1 point or less. And you even think about the Saturday against South Carolina when they lost on a half-court buzzer beater, but. And I've been reading comments already. We're not going to do this. Georgia sucks. Well, crap. Because you lose in the SEC tournament, you lose. We lose in baseball in the SEC tournament. You know what I mean? It's not. We're not doing that. Georgia did not have a good first half, and plus some bad calls. That's all why we lost tonight. But in years recently, when we've lost and we thought this was it, it's not it. Georgia will be in the NCAA tournament, and we will find out our fate Sunday. I guess if there's one good thing or two good things about this, is that, again, you get to look forward to Selection Sunday. Georgia would probably be at 8. I've seen some people maybe say a 9. Georgia be really lucky to get the 7th seed, which you would have loved to have, because you would avoid having to play a number 1. But now it's like last year. Remember, if Georgia beat Gonzaga, they would have to play number 1 Houston, Um, and two, and this is gonna be foreshadowing, and I apologize, but at Georgia baseball has a big series tomorrow versus Tennessee, first conference series of the year. So maybe everybody could rally with that. But that was a terrible loss. I would much rather be playing basketball right now. But I don't like to use the word screwed, but that's pretty much what happened. That's 8 or 9 points the referees took off the board from Georgia. That if they had went our way, we would have won. But the problem to that is don't get down 20 at one point in the game. You just can't do it. You can't do it and consistently expect to come back and win. So that's that. Georgia's trip in Nashville is a short one. Georgia goes 0-1 in Nashville again. Georgia has not won a SEC tournament game since Missouri in 2024. That feels like years ago now. But yeah, Georgia's run's over. Could you even call it a run? I don't even think you call it a run, but Georgia's time in Nashville is done, and we will play again. That's what makes this a lot better. We will play. We will indeed play again, but just do not know when or where or any of that right now. And who knows? They might already have Georgia as a 7 and not drop them. They might have them at an 8 and not drop them. You never know, but just if. This is a tough one to swallow. So Georgia loses again to Ole Miss in the second round of the SEC tournament, 76-72. And we will talk more about tomorrow. And we'll talk about baseball. And then we'll have Georgia basketball all weekend long with the NCAA tournament selection show. So who do I want to win the SEC tournament? Now, I tell you what, it'd be really shocking. And this is going to sound really weird to say. It'd be really shocking if Kentucky won it. I think Florida wins it though. This will be the last video we do of the SEC tournament. I think Florida wins it. I think it's Florida, Alabama, and I think Florida wins it. So, regardless, Georgia's time's done, and Georgia will be going back home. Georgia loses 76-72 to Ole Miss. Go Dogs, and hopefully, I've also been reading where people want to play the NCAA tournament at. Maybe Georgia will get a Charlotte, Greensboro, North Carolina, or Birmingham, or somewhere they don't have to go all out for. So anyway, go Dogs, and we'll wait for our announcement of where we play at in the NCAA tournament.
Dogs do the improbable, the unthinkable, the unbelievable. They beat Arkansas and go wire to wire to win the SEC tournament.